Dear students and the viewers, Assalamu alaikum, and all of you are warmly welcome to the online class. This is an online class of Glagandal Mujibur Rahman Bhuiya High School. I am Muhammad Gulam Sadek, Senior Teacher, English, Glagandal Mujibur Rahman Bhuiya High School, Rupganj, Nayanganj. Dear students, this online class arranged by Glagandal Mujibur Rahman Bhuiya Online School and directed by our Honorable Head Teacher Rina Akhtar and the Education Office, Rupganj, Nayanganj. Dear students, how are you? Hope all of you are healthy and hearty, though we are passing a critical time due to COVID-19. And you are missing your as usual classes, as well as we are also miss you. And we know in the absence of your as usual classes, your normal study is hampering. For that reason, we are launching online class. Today, we will learn how to change degree from superlative to positive, positive to superlative, comparative to superlative, comparative to positive. You know, transformation is very significant topics in your English second paper, and degree is one of the subsection of transformation. Okay, my dear students, let's start. Dear student, we know there are three kinds of degree: positive, comparative, and superlative. Dear students, we know three kinds of degree: positive, comparative, and superlative. But how can we detect them individually? We can detect them individually by using the frame. If you find any sentence begins with no other, that is positive. Or if you get any sentence begins with very few, that is also a sentence of positive degree. On the other hand, how can we detect a sentence of comparative degree? That's very easy, my dear students. If you find then any other in any sentence at the middle position, that is comparative degree. Or if you find then most other in any sentence at the middle position, then you have to understand, obviously it is a degree of comparative. But whenever you will get B, D, soup, B means am, is, are, was, were. Am, is, are will be used for present tense. On the other hand, was and were will be used in past tense. B, the, soup. Soup means superlative from, as like that. Good, better, best. Positive, comparative, superlative. Soup. Soup means here best. superlative form. It's a short form of superlative. Okay, my dear students, in the last session we can, if we follow the frame, easily we can detect what is positive sentence, what is comparative sentence, and what is superlative sentence. But you have to remember that if you find any sentence with no other, then if you want to transform into superlative, then you have to use be the sup. Suppose you want to transform a sentence from superlative to positive, but this sentence with be the sup, as like he is the best boy. I mean be the sup. Then you have to use no other. On the other hand, if you find a sentence with be one of the sup, he is one of the best boys in our class. Dear students, please attention here. Here not only be, there is also one of. Here only be, but here be one of. Then if we want to transform a superlative degree to positive, then we have to use very few. I like to show you some example, then you will feel it is so easy. My dear student, now we are going to learn how we can transform superlative to positive. At first, I would like to mention a sentence with be the sup. He is the tallest boy in our class. Dear students, this is an example of a superlative degree. Why not? We get here be the sup, so we can use no other if we want to transform it into positive degree. No other. Okay, we get here no other, but now what will you do? Now we have to select, we have to identify, we have to detect what is the superlative degree in this sentence. Easily you know tall, positive, taller, comparative, and tallest, superlative. Here we get tallest. So after the portion till full stop, boy in our class will come after no other. Boy in our class. Okay, at first we take no other, then the last portion of the given sentence after superlative degree, boy in our class. Now we need a verb. We know if any sentence start with no other. This is a singular subject. So we can use is here. Now, so from the rules. Now we are transforming a superlative degree into positive. Now we need here a positive degree of tallest. So we can take here tall. Now we use here as from the rules as it is well as. Now he. Dear student, here a sentence of positive degree. He is the tallest boy in our class. Make it positive. So, no other. If we find a sentence with be the soup, it's obviously a superlative degree. Then, if we want to transform it into positive, we have to need no other. No other. The last portion after the degree, boy in our class. Boy in our class. Then verb, so, tall. Why not we are going to transform it into positive? Then we need the positive form of tallest, tall, as from the rules, and he. That is a very easy way if you want to transform a superlative degree into positive. Hope you are feel so easy when you are going to it. Now I like to show you another rules. Whenever we get be the soup, that is a superlative degree. On the other hand, if we get a sentence with be one of the soup, that is also superlative degree. Now I like to show you an example. He is one of the best boy in our class. Dear student, please look at the board. In our previous sentence, we used only be the soup. Then we used no other. But here, be one of the soup. Now we have to use very few. Very few. Now, like your previous sentence, we have to find out what is the superlative degree here. Here, best is the superlative degree, and we need the last portion of the degree. So here the last portion, boys in our class. Very few boys in our class. Dear students, that is very important, and many of us mistake here. Here he, third person singular number, so we can use here is as our verb. But here we cannot use is. Why not? Whenever we find a sentence started with very few, then we have to understand this sentence and verb and noun will be plural. Here boys plural. Starting any sentence very few, After that, noun will be plural. So boys here plural. Now singular verb is not allowed here. We have to use a verb of plural. So are. If we get was in past consent, then we have to use here are. But here is we have to need are. Very few boys in our class are. So now we need a positive form. We know the positive form of best, good. So good as from the rules, now he. Make it positive. Dear students, in the first example, we learned from superlative to positive, but the sentence was with be the soup, then we use no other. But in the present sentence, this is also a superlative degree, but it is with be one of the soup. Be one of the soup. That is why we need very few. Then we need the last portion of the sentence after degree. Boys in our class. Boys in our class. Then we need verb are. Then so. Then positive from. Then as. And then the subject he. Now my dear student, we have learned how we can change superlative from superlative to positive. The two rules, with be the soup, with be one of the soup, by no other, and by very few. Dear students, now I am going to show you how we can change from superlative to comparative. I hope all of you are with me. Then any other, and with then most other, that will be comparative degree. Okay, now we are going to superlative to comparative. Dear student, now we are going to learn how can we change superlative to comparative. At first, I like to show an example of then any other. Superlative. He is the wisest man in our village. Make it comparative. Comparative. Dear student, I think transforming superlative to comparative or comparative to superlative is easier than transforming positive. Why not? Superlative to comparative or comparative to superlative, subject and verb will not change. So he is. Now but we not need the here. Why not? We need here a comparative from. Why not? We are going to comparative, but wisest here is superlative from. I think You know what is the comparative form of wisest? Wise positive, wiser comparative, and wisest as usual superlative. So he is wiser. Now this is a sentence with be the soup, superlative be the soup. So we need then any other if we want to transform it into a comparative degree. He is wiser than any other. Now what will you do? Now we need the last portion of the sentence after superlative from man in our village. Very easy. He is wiser than any other man in our village. This is a superlative degree, and that is a degree of comparative. How we have done it? At first subject, then verb. Subject and verb will not be changed here. Then the comparative form of wisest, wiser. Since this is a sentence with be the soup, so if we want to transform it into then any other, we need here then any other, then any other. After that we need the last portion of the sentence after superlative from. Here man in our village. So after then any other, man in our village. That is a comparative degree from superlative. My dear student, there is another rules. If you find any sentence, any superlative sentence, superlative degree with be the soup, then you will be not allowed to use then any other. Then you have to use then most other. I like to show another example about it. He is one of the shortest players in our team. Make it comparative. Dear students, now we are going to learn how we can change a superlative degree into comparative. Here he is one of the shortest players in our team. Okay, in our previous rule we only get here be the soup, be the soup. Then we used then any other, but now we get here be one of the soup, be one of the soup. Then we have to use then most other if we want to transform it into comparative degree. Now as usual, comparative to superlative and superlative to comparative, subject and verb will be same. So he is. Now we need a comparative form of shortest. We know short positive, shorter comparative, and shortest superlative. So we need here shorter. He is shorter. Now we have to use then most other. He is shorter than most other. most other. Okay, now what will you do? How can we complete the sentence? Now we need, after then most other, the last portion of the given sentence after superlative from. He is shorter than most other players in our team. Players in our team. Dear student, if you follow the frame, you will understand that if we find superlative degree using be the soup, we have to use no other if we want to transform it positive, or if we want to transform it comparative, we have to use then any other. If we find any sentence be the soup in a superlative degree. But whenever you will get a superlative degree with be one of the soup, then if we want to transform the sentence into positive, we need very few. But whenever the same sentence, if we want to transform into comparative, then most other will come to complete the sentence, to maintain the rules. So he is shorter than most other players in our team. Okay, my dear student, I think I am so optimistic about you that if you follow the rules and if you practice at home, you will perform to change superlative to comparative, comparative to superlative, superlative to positive. Okay, dear student, in this session I like to discuss and show you how we can change comparative to positive. I hope all of you are with me. Okay. Comparative to positive. Dear student, he is taller than any other boy in our class. We are going to make it positive. Make it positive. Dear student, we know if we want to start, if we want to write down a sentence of positive degree, we need no other or very few. So, no other, very few. There is no confusion. Either of two. What will you take? We know if the sentence with then any other, then we need no others. So at first we take no other. Now what will you do, my dear student? Very easy, please follow me. No other. Then you find out what is the sign of comparative degree. Here, then any other. Then any other. A sign of one of the signs of sign of comparative degree. You will take the last portion of the comparative sign. Boy in our class. No other boy in our class. Now we need a verb here. From here we take is. Now so from rules. This is positive degree. We are going to transform a comparative degree into positive. So we need a positive degree from taller. We know tall, positive, taller, comparative, and the tallest superlative. So we are going to make it positive. So we need tall. Now as from the rules. Now subject he. No other boy in our class is so tall as he. Dear student, there is no difference from meanings. There is no difference about meaning. No other boy in our class is so tall as he. That is, whenever we find a sentence with then any other, if we want to transform it positive, we need no other. Dear student, please think yourself. Think yourself, if you find a sentence with then most other, what will you do? This is very easy, like that. If you find any sentence with then most other and you are ordered or you are requested to transform it into positive, then you have to use very few. If you find any sentence with then any other, you need no other. Whenever you will find then most other, you will need very few to make it positive from comparative from. He is finer than most other boys in my family. In my family. Make it positive. Dear student, here a sentence of comparative degree, but in our previous sentence we used then any other, but now that is something different. We used here then most other. If we find a sentence with then most other, that is obviously a comparative degree. But whenever we turn into positive, we need very few. Whenever then any other, then no other. Whenever then most other, then very few. So very few. Very few. Now we need the last portion of the sentence after then most other. Boys in my family. Very few boys in my family. Now we need a verb. Here he is third person singular, but here very few boys third person plural. So we are not allowed to use is as verb. We have to use here are. If there was, we have to use here were. Very few boys in my family are so from the rules. Then we need a positive form of finer. We know, all of we know, what is the positive form of finer? Fine. Fine, finer, finest. So we need here fine. So fine as from the rule. Now he. Very few boys in my family are so fine as he. Dear student, there is no cause to get affair with performing superlative to positive, positive to superlative. It's very easy if you follow the frame. For positive, do other, very few. For comparative, then any other, then most other. For superlative, be the soup or be one of the soup. My dear students and the viewers, all of you are deserve thanks to take part at our online class. I am so optimistic that if our learners follow the rules at their home, they will easily perform to transform any kinds of degree to any kinds of degree. May Allah bless you. Thank you very much.